So about 3 months ago, I donated my kidney, and I wanted to share my experience with you guys in case someone else is also thinking about doing that. I wrote it out, that way I don't forget anything. So I'll start with the timeline. It was about the middle of July where I realized it was up to me to save the day. So I made the phone call, and they scheduled me for a 2-day exam. The exam wasn't terrible. They drew blood like 6 times. And the scariest exam I would say was maybe the contrast CT, and that's where they had me in like this giant machine, and it was making lots of noise. And then at the same time, they were injecting stuff into my arm, and that was a little uncomfortable. And then they did that a couple times, but I did get a really cool 3D map of my insides out of it, so I'd say it was worth it. The nephrologist found a mole on my back, and transferring melanoma is really bad for kidney recipients because their immune systems are bad. So she wanted me to get it checked out just in case. I mean, it didn't look that bad anyways, that mole, but might as well. So I got the dermatologist. They were like, yeah, it's nothing. They took it out anyways, and after that they approved me. So then we had to wait for the system to find us matches. I wasn't a match for my wife. We're not even the same blood type. But yeah, so they took a while, and by early November they'd found us a match, or it was kind of like a three-way match, a 3-pair exchange, and the surgery was scheduled for late November, early December. So we came in the day before surgery for some last-minute labs just to make sure I was still healthy, and they had me get admitted the night before the surgery. The surgery was at 5 a.m. I keep telling people it's so that I didn't run away, but yeah, because I mean they ended up waking me up at 3 in the morning. But before that night, I had a few doctors come in and talk to me just about what was going to happen, and yeah, that stuff. I had an IV nurse come in and put an IV, and the IV nurse was not very good, and that ended up being the most painful part of the whole experience. My wife also said the same thing. Yeah, so then I got about 2 hours. I woke up around 3:30, and then 2 hours of sleep, and then around like 3:45, 4 o'clock, they came in. They had me like shower with a special antibiotic thing, and then start getting me ready. But yeah, my surgery in the early morning was nice because you can't eat like 12 hours before, and so I didn't have time to get hungry for breakfast. So yeah, I had the surgery. I woke up in the ICU a couple hours later. I had a binder around my kind of stomach area, so breathing was difficult, but the nurse is like, I complained to the nurse. Nurse is like, your O2 is at 100%. I'm like, okay, then I guess I'm okay. And then she gave me fentanyl. I wasn't in any pain, but apparently the pain's supposed to start picking up at that point. She gave me some fentanyl, and I relaxed too much, and she had to like remind me to keep breathing. So that was interesting, but yeah, it wasn't too terrible. I wasn't too much out of it. Like I've woken up from dental surgery where I was more out of it than waking up from this thing, so it wasn't too bad. They wheeled me back to my room. I didn't have any pain in my incision or anything like that, but my bladder was killing me, and I had a catheter in, but it like wasn't working unless I stood up. So about 2 hours after I woke up from the surgery, I was standing up with the help of my nurse. Like, he was kind of helping me stand up. Aaron was really nice. He was my nurse for the first day. And yeah, and that kind of let me relieve myself, which is, again, weird experience with a catheter. But standing up 2 hours after surgery kind of made me nauseous. Some other people have said that like way worse. My wife was like retching her way out of the surgery room even like while she was laying down, so I think I got it easy. I've had some other people say the experience. So overall it wasn't terrible. I think it's because the surgery is so short. I mean, like they have you up for like 2 or 3 hours, but the actual surgery part of it is like really half an hour long. So yeah, it wasn't terrible. Yeah, so I started getting nauseous. He gave me some medication to stop the nausea, but that made me really drowsy, so I fell asleep and slept for a couple hours. I didn't eat much the first day, mostly because I was really bloated from the surgery. Like they have a lot of gas in you, for laparoscopic surgeries, and again, inflammation, all that stuff. So you're just kind of bloated in general, and then also I'm trying to drink as much water as I can because they say drink a lot of water. So I just didn't have much space for food. And then about 5 or 6 hours after the surgery, I got up and walked around a little bit with the help of a stroller. And that was kind of like my mission for the first couple days was walk around as much as I can and sleep. And that's basically it, just walk and sleep. Maybe watch a little videos on my laptop. The next day I had the catheter taken out. It wasn't terrible. Like, it was a little uncomfortable, while it's being yanked out, but that's like a couple seconds and then it's gone. I did have really bad heartburn, and it helped to sit up, and so I slept sitting up or like at an angle for the first week because the heartburn kept coming back. And I tried things like Tums and Pepto-Bismol, and those helped. But again, it's just that was probably the least comfortable part of the whole experience, was the really bad heartburn. Another thing is that if I laid on my back for too long, my kidney hole started hurting. And what I call my kidney hole is like where my kidney used to be, and kind of like slight back pain. And that kind of hurt a little bit, but it wasn't like stabbing pain. It's just, if you're trying to sleep on it, it gets uncomfortable. But Tylenol basically took care of all of that. So they said I could go home on Thursday. The surgery was on Tuesday morning. They said I could go home Thursday, but I was still kind of, very bloated and didn't really feel like getting up. And they said I could also just stay till Friday if I wanted to. I wasn't going home. I was going to a hotel. So I figured I'd just stay at the hospital for another day, and there was no problem with that. And I think it really helped because, bumpy roads I hear are kind of bad. It wasn't too terrible for me, but it was just nice having an extra day to recuperate. That first week, I also had some shoulder pain, and they say that's common with the laparoscopic surgery, just like stabbing pain up here. And they say walking around kind of helps. I don't know. I guess maybe it helped a little bit, but it's not like terrible pain. It's just uncomfortable. We stayed at the hotel for 2 weeks. My wife's family helped out with the chores. And I think it was really nice to not have to get on an airplane right away. I can't lift more. I wasn't supposed to lift more than 10 pounds. So like going through with all my baggage would have been a giant pain on the airplane. And even just like carrying my backpack, that was kind of close to that 10 pound, probably 15 pounds. And then just, turbulence probably would have sucked. So it was nice to not have to get on an airplane right away. And I wasn't fully walking upright. Like, I was kind of bent over from the bloating, and from kind of like my organs didn't seem like they were back in the right place yet for about a week. But yeah, after that week is what I hear is the turning point, and I completely agree. That's when I had my turning point. I think if I absolutely had to, I could have gone back to work after a week as a software engineer, but not having to helped me with a lot of, like, it would have been very stressful if during that first week I was trying to recuperate and think about how I'm going to get back to work. So having some time off work, I had some FMLA, and that really helped with keeping the stress levels down and letting me just recuperate and get healthy, and just take some time to do that. I didn't feel any different lacking a kidney. Maybe I felt dehydrated a little bit more easily, but you don't really notice. It's not like it's not like you're missing a lung and you get winded easily. Like, no, you just don't notice. Like, there's no real change in how you feel. They had steri strips on my incision, and they fell off about 10 days later. Maybe it was closer to 15 actually. And the steri strips were really nice because I didn't have to do any aftercare. I didn't have to think about my wound in any way. I just went about my day, and eventually it just like fell off and it was done. And like I said previously, pain-wise, the Tylenol was the most I ever needed. At no point I don't think I ever had to take they gave me narcotics, but I didn't ended up needing them. Um, so yeah, it's been 2.5 months. My incision is basically healed. If you're curious about what that looks like, I'm wearing my pajamas, but hopefully that's in frame. You can see that the incision was basically like a cut right here, and then I have two cuts here and here for the laparoscopic stuff. And so they, cut here, got everything ready for the kidney, and then the guy stuck his hand in and pulled out the kidney. I have no real pain from it. I can still feel the sutures, like there's a bunch of sutures on the inside. My wife is doing great. She's off of dialysis. She does not have any major side effects from the anti-rejection medication. So yeah, everything's turned out great. I would definitely recommend doing this, especially if it's not going to affect you financially. Then like there really is no reason not to. It doesn't really affect you as a person, and you're basically saving someone's life. The chances of dying during surgery, they say, are 1 in 3,000, which, like, what even is a micromort? But to put that in perspective, it's the same chances of dying that an African American woman has during childbirth. Just two funny stats I read. One, compared to the general population, kidney donors actually have better kidney function than the general population. And two, kidney donors tend to live longer than the general population. And, that's probably more of they're not going to take your kidney if you're not already a very healthy person. But, just so you know, like, it doesn't affect your life as far as statistics go in any way. And I got a free in-depth physical out of it. I don't have to worry about my health. Every time, I'm kind of like a paranoid kind of person when it comes to medical. I mean, I guess we all are, especially with WebMD. And it's like, oh, I have a weird pain. Well, I just had all that, studies done, so I'm probably fine. And you get priority if you ever do have a kidney problem. You get priority on deceased kidney donors replacement, I guess you could say, going forward. So yeah, like I keep saying, overall it wasn't a terrible experience. If I had 3 kidneys, I'd probably do it again, and I hope this helps.